What's up, Baylor fans? This is Colt Barber with Sikkim 365 coming to you exactly right after the Baylor's devastating loss to Arizona State, 27-24 in McLean Stadium, and just more of the same. Very frustrating event, chain of events in that game of, I guess you could call it starting slow as usual, turnovers and inopportune times, just devastating mistakes that happen over and over and over. Very, very frustrating. And at this point, I want to give credit to Arizona State for coming out and making plays, but Baylor, once again, just feel like they beat themselves and couldn't overcome it. And without looking at the box score, obviously Sawyer's day is going to be solid, nothing fascinating. Bryson Washington was underutilized in this game, early on especially. Once he got going and started turning out some yards, he goes for over 100 yards. Michael Triggs utilized heavily and with 2 touchdowns, but in general, I think this game comes back to the offense. The defense really stepped up. I felt like the defense made the stops that it needed to make to win this game, but when your offense sputters and spits around, that defensive performance just goes by the wayside, and it's extremely frustrating for a defensive coach. I'm sure when you're wanting to put together a solid defensive performance, you have a good game plan, and then immediately your offense just turns the ball over. And Josh Cameron, obviously, he feels as bad as anyone for those turnovers, for the fumbles, but they're just at this juncture of the season for a team that wants to win a Big 12 championship or complete for a college football playoff. You can't have those types of turnovers, especially at home. And Baylor had the chance to overcome it, but they weren't able to. And unfortunately, the defense did have their breakdowns at the end of this game and have an opportunity to get off the field on a long third down stop and don't do it. Give up a 6-yard pass that allows that team to go ahead. And they had prime opportunity once again to get off. But I will say I was very proud of the defensive performance in general. They stepped up in crucial spots, held Arizona State to field goal attempts, and obviously I can't say enough about the way that unit kind of came together. They're extremely depleted. You saw more starters go out today with Travion Barnes. LeVar Thornton did not return to that game after an injury. I'm not really sure what was going on with LeVar, but he was out. And those guys are banged up, and they competed their butts off. And I was very impressed with that performance in general. It's not a great performance by any means, but they did exactly what they needed to do for this team to win. And unfortunately, put in very bad situations throughout the game because of the offense, because of decision-making, and, going back to that with the offense and what they were not able to do. I think going forward on fourth down, once again in your red zone without utilizing Sawyer's legs, but not only that, you pass up an opportunity to get points. And at some point, that's going to come back and catch you, and it did today. Those 3 points would have been massive at the end of the game, especially considering Arizona State had to go for 2 to make that a 7-point game. And without those points from early in the first half, Baylor loses this game. And you don't know what happens if that field goal is kicked. But I think at this point, Baylor needs to stop passing up those opportunities to score points. If you're going to be in a lot of close-scoring games, points are a premium. And I know what analytics say, but those things have to go by the wayside. But again, I'll go back to the offensive side of the ball. That they absolutely cost this team this game. And Sawyer's interception that was targeted to Josh Cameron, that was, I don't want to call it unacceptable. It was a great play by the defensive player, but those 3 turnovers were absolutely back-breaking. Throwing a late hit by DJ Coleman, another mental mistake there. Even though I don't necessarily agree with the call, because the receiver has to conclude the catch to the ground, and that could have had been an opportunity to knock the ball loose. So I don't necessarily agree with the call, but it is what it is on it, and DJ has to be smarter. And so there were chances to step up big for the defense when they missed those opportunities, but too many opportunities throughout the entire game that they did step up, and the Baylor offense just couldn't capitalize until it was too little too late. The offense ran out of time because they couldn't get enough done earlier in the game. So really anxious to see how this team responds against Oklahoma State, and this next week, obviously that's going to be a very interesting game, an interesting matchup with the Pokes, considering Mike Gundy and what's going on with him and losing to Tulsa. But this team has to get right. I don't want to say, Big 12 championship titles are still out there, but they are. I'm not feeling or thinking about that right now. But there's an opportunity for that, and they have to get their heads on right. I think this goes back, again, that's my rapid reaction. It's the offense really shot themselves in the foot way too often, and they really spoiled what was a really, in my mind, solid defensive performance. The defense didn't do enough, but they did do enough. They could have done more, but they did do enough to win this game. But anyways, that's my rapid reaction for this game. I'm anxious to see them get back on the field next week, and really want to hear what Dave Aranda has to say about his defensive performance, because I think if there's anywhere to give credit, it's to that group. And also give a shout out to Palmer Williams. Special teams in general was solid. I really like the kicking game, the coverage game, but offense, unfortunately, as good as they've been all year, they cost this one a win, and they just did too little too late. So this is Colt Barber with Sick'em 365, my rapid reactions.